broad sailor collar fell over her shoulders and back. In everything she did there was a union of haughtiness and gracefulness, and her laughing brown eyes betrayed great natural cleverness and an abundant enjoyment of life and goodness of heart. She was called the little girl, which she had to suffer only because her beautiful slender mother was a full hand's breadth taller than she. Effie had just stood up again to perform her calisthenic exercises when her mother, who at the moment chanced to be looking up from her embroidery, called her. "Effie, you really ought to have been an equestrian, I'm thinking. Always on the trapeze, always a daughter of the air. I almost believe you would like something of the sort." "Perhaps, mamma. But if it were so, whose fault would it be? From whom do I get it?" "Why, from no one but you. Or do you think from papa? There, it makes you laugh yourself. And then why do you always dress me in this rig, this boy's smock? Sometimes I fancy I shall be put back in short clothes yet. Once I have them on again, I shall courtesy like a girl in her early teens. And when our friends in Rothenau come over, I shall sit in Colonel Gotz's lap and ride a trot horse. Why not? He is 3/4 an uncle and only 1/4 a suitor. You are to blame. Why don't I have any party clothes? Why don't you make a lady of me? Should you like me to?" "No." With that she ran to her mother, embraced her effusively and kissed her. "Not so savagely, Effie. Not so passionately. I am always disturbed when I see you thus." At this point 3 young girls stepped into the garden through the little iron gate in the churchyard wall and started along the gravel walk towards the round bed and the sundial. They all waved their umbrellas at Effie and then ran up to Mrs. von Briest and kissed her hand. She hurriedly asked a few questions and then invited the girls to stay and visit with them, or at least with Effie for half an hour. "Besides, I have something else that I must do, and young folks like best to be left to themselves. Fare ye well." With these words she went up the stone steps into the house. 2 of the girls, plump little creatures, whose freckles and good nature well matched their curly red hair, were daughters of Precentor Janke, who swore by the Hanseatic League, Scandinavia and Fritz Rother, and following the example of his favourite writer and fellow countryman, had named his twin daughters Bertha and Hertha, in imitation of Mining and Lining. The 3rd young lady was Hulda Niemeyer, Pastor Niemeyer's only child. She was more ladylike than the other 2, but on the other hand tedious and conceited, a lymphatic blonde, with slightly protruding dim eyes, which nevertheless seemed always to be seeking something, for which reason the Hussar Klitzing once said, "Doesn't she look as though she were every moment expecting the angel Gabriel?" Effie felt that the rather captious Klitzing was only too right in his criticism, yet she avoided making any distinction between the 3 girl friends. Nothing could have been further from her mind at this moment. Resting her arms on the table, she exclaimed, "Oh, this tedious embroidery! Thank heaven you are here." "But we have driven your mamma away," said Hulda. "Oh, no. She would have gone anyhow. She is expecting a visitor, an old friend of her childhood days. I must tell you a story about him later. A love story with a real hero and a real heroine, and ending with resignation. Moreover, I saw mamma's old friend over in Schwantico. He is a district councillor, a fine figure, very manly." "Manly? That's a most important consideration," said Hertha. "Certainly. It's the chief consideration. Woman womanly, men manly, is, you know, one of Papa's favourite maxims. And now help me put the table in order, or there will be another scolding." It took but a moment to put things right in the basket, and when the girls sat down again, Hulda said, "Now, Effie, now we are ready. Now for the love story with resignation. Or isn't it so bad?" A story with resignation is never bad.